Hello, everyone. It's your friend Tristan Miller. I'm just here to inform you that I'm recording my first stand-up comedy album and special on May the 4th in New York City at Caveat at 4 p.m. You can go to the link in my bio on my social media platforms, or you can go to caveat.com, go to May the 4th, and buy tickets there. Highly recommend that you get them early as they are cheaper that way. Also, after the show, I'm going to go, Phantom Menace is playing in theaters. So I'm going to take a big group to go to the nearest AMC or whatever Cineplex and go see my favorite Star Wars movie. I'll say it with my full chest. My favorite Star Wars movie in theaters again. So hope to see you at both things. If you have to pick one, just pick my show, please. I would like to sell out the house if possible. Anyway, love you. Hope to see you soon. Okay, bye-bye. Coming soon to theaters, podcasts, film reviews, and so much more. Available at tristanmiller.substack.com.
And now, our feature presentation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Focus Testing, a podcast about movies where we make a movie, excuse me, because joining me today is Bridget Davies. How are you, Bridget?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It is a Sunday afternoon, which means I am lazy. So
it's a lazy Sunday afternoon.
It's truly a miracle that we're doing this at all. But you and I met because you were doing the Dice show with Stephen Lyons and stuff like that, and that was improvised stand-up. But from my understanding, that was your first time doing that kind of stand-up. But you've been doing it for a while. How did you start off doing comedy?
I started doing stand-up 10 years. It was 10 years in February.
Oh,
so I started as soon as I left school.
Mm-hmm.
I had liked watching it all through high school, and then got like DVDs and autobiographies from all these comedians that I liked, and I was watching them like walk out on stage, and everyone clapped. Like, that'd be a nice feeling. So let's aim for that. So I wrote moment. Yeah. I just want to walk into a room and people clap. You know, that's all fun.
Yeah,
the simple girl with small dreams.
Yeah.
So I wrote jokes while I was still at school, and then when I finished school, I booked a gig, the Classic, at their like raw night, their open mic night, and then didn't want to tell anyone. So I said I told my mum I was staying at a friend's house, which I did do. But then the next day she was like, "Oh, like how was Kelly?" And I was like, "Oh, Kelly's good. She just had work last night." She was like, "Oh, what did you do?" And I was like, "I walked up like through the CBD and did my first stand-up comedy gig." And she was like, "You walked through the CBD alone?" Like, you walked through town, like what? Like, and as her car swerves and we both nearly died.
Mm-hmm.
But and from then on, after that, she started dropping me to my gig so that I didn't CBD alone, which was very kind, and picking me up afterwards. So safety first. But from then on, it was kind of, I was in it. Haven't left.
Oh, that's fantastic. Very good to have supportive parents. You know, it's very rare, I feel like, with performers.
Well, I was studying at the same time, so they were probably just like, it's just a hobby, it's a thing, you know, it's okay. You can have your little extra thing.
Sure, an extracurricular. Yeah.
They're like, she doesn't play sport anymore, like this is her thing.
Comedy sports, as it were. That's very, very nice. Who do you remember watching growing up when you were in high school? Like what comedians?
Yeah, I remember getting up at 6 o'clock every school morning, which is very early for me. I know that's not some people, but I'm big on sleep. And going on UK TV and watching reruns of Michael McIntyre's Comedy Roadshow. And so I can still remember, obviously, him, and I can remember Sarah Millican's Comedy Roadshow set, which must have been like one of her first televised set, and I've loved her ever since. I got really into Would I Lie to You as well, the panel show. So I found like a lot of UK acts through that. Who else did I like? Sarah Millican. I really like Joe Lycett at the moment.
Hmm.
But growing up, whose autobiographies did I have? I had
Yeah.
quite a few. I had like yeah, Sarah Millican eventually released one, but she hadn't released one when I started reading them. So I read Michael
Hmm.
McIntyre, Lee Mack, David Mitchell, oh Joe
Oh yeah.
Brand as well, and she wrote like three. Read Miranda Hart's, I read Jack Dee's. Kevin Bridges' autobiography was really good. I think he must have been in his 20s when he wrote it. It's like, what could you possibly have to say? But it was so good. Um, yeah, mainly UK based comic. So,
That makes sense. Yeah, that tracks. Um, but this podcast isn't just about comedy. Obviously, it's also about movies. You know, watch out. Um,
what?
yeah, I know. Oh no. What's your first memory of being in the cinema?
In a cinema.
Yeah, like going to the movie theater.
I I honestly couldn't tell you. The first
Hmm.
memory that comes to mind is the first time I wasn't allowed to go to.
Okay, what's that?
Um, so I was 5, and the first Harry Potter movie had come out, and my brother wanted to go see it, and I had chicken pox, so I wasn't allowed to go.
Admittedly, a
Um,
good reason.
a very good reason. And I can still remember going to the video shop when it was released on video
Mm-hmm.
to rent it, and my mum showing me the cover, like this is the movie we went to, and I pointed at Snape on the cover,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, that's the bad guy. So a controversial view, even as a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
hot take.
Yeah, real
It's
provocateur.
yeah, from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first time I went to a cinema, I don't know, and I know we probably went quite a lot because there was a little local cinema up in Whangaroa, not too far, and I remember going
Mm.
a lot. And I couldn't tell you any movies I saw there.
That's fair. That's no worries.
Yeah, what was the
I
first
think.
movie that you remember seeing?
Oh gosh. I think it was the re-release of the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
Um, I have memories that were like told to me that happened when we saw those films, but then also I remember like Jabba the Hutt's sail barge blowing up. That I have an actual memory of. Whereas then others are like memories that are placed by family stories, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So that's I think the first thing I remember. And then seeing Phantom Menace like 2 years later, I think I remember that. And
Yeah.
I want to say Toy Story, but it's all kind of muddled together.
Mm.
But I do think the disallowing a person seeing a film at a young age is so important. Um,
Especially for chicken.
yeah, specifically for chickenpox, but also like I'm the youngest of three, and so there was always like when Lord of the Rings came out, I was I think 8, and it's PG-13 in the States, and I'm like, do
Um,
we? And like, so the other two siblings cleared it. They were like, yeah, obviously we're gonna go see it because
yeah.
we're of age. But like, do we let Tristan see it? I'm like, we just spent so much time reading these long, frankly, in places quite boring books. I swan to John. You have to let me watch this movie. But I digress.
I did
Uh,
all the study for it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
I did study for the quiz for sure.
yeah. Let me sit
Um,
quiz.
let me do it. Let me just go. Go. That's not in the book. That's let me be that
Yeah,
person
yeah.
at age 8. When you go to the cinema now, do you have a go-to like snack?
Go to snack.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
I have
a
a go to
go-to
snack.
snack.
I thought you
Yeah.
said, "Do you ever go to snack?" And I was like,
Here's the
"Uh,
thing. You're the second person in a row to think I said that, so I need to
oh,
work on my
really?
in my diction, or
Oh,
maybe,
thanks."
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Do you have a preferred
I
consumption?
have a cafe go to snack.
Yeah.
I can't go past movie popcorn. I know
Okay.
that's so basic, but I love popcorn. My
Hmm.
partner makes really, really good popcorn.
Hmm.
And he made some 2 days ago, and I just finished it. Like just before we were doing this, I was still snacking on like really old popcorn.
Popcorn is great. Have you ever had popcorn with apple slices in it?
Oh,
It's really good. Obviously, the apple slices don't last long, so you have to like kind of eat it right
yeah,
away.
couldn't do the same thing. Yeah.
But it is, sweet and salty and all that. We used to have that a lot as a kid.
Mhm.
Anyway, a recommendation if you love popcorn, bring an apple to the cinema, annoy everybody by
Yeah,
cutting it
yeah.
up. um, are you ready for some movie trivia?
So ready.
Okay, great. First question, as always, to everybody, I ask this one. What is movie?
What is movie?
Yeah, what is movie? What does movie mean to you?
What does movie mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
Movie means watching
Okay.
and listening to a to art. Movie
Mm.
can be art
Mm-hmm.
that we listen to while watching, while eating pop.
I like it.
And for me, it means rewatching a lot of the time as well. I'm very into rewatching. Same thing. So for me, it's quite a comfort.
Mm-hmm. What film have you been rewatching most lately?
Lately, oh, I just rewatched Mary Poppins.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
That's great.
1960, whatever. Why not?
Yeah, I love a little. Um, Something I think I didn't appreciate when I first saw that film as a child is how beautiful she is.
You know,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, uh, that's very good. Second question. Sorry, I should plan these out a little bit better.
Oh no.
Trying to pick one that I think is suitable for you. I have a list of them, you see, and I'm like,
Oh,
I
okay.
curate them based off of
Right.
guests. What movie monster is your favorite? Do you have a favorite movie monster?
Monster.
Yeah.
So my mind instantly goes to Monsters Inc.
Hell yeah. Excellent.
And not to rip off Boo, but I
Mm.
love Sully because he's fluffy.
He is that.
Yeah,
They really knocked it out of the park with that design because he is like could
they
be
did.
a little scary, but he's mostly cute.
Mostly cute, like really nice color choices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like if he was a cat, you can see why she was calling him Kitty because he's like good toe beat. Like he's got
Yeah.
good hand and feet presumably, and like big eyes. Like yeah, they really balance. Like a cat, like so adorable, and then like turns and points.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love Sully, and I actually had a soft spot for the Abominable.
Of course.
And when I watched the movie, I felt
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That absolutely makes sense. I do like how you keyed into whenever I'm finding someone attractive, that's what I also look for is like hands and eyes. So in my
oh
mind, I'm like,
right.
oh, good character design is also the same as like what like
And they're
oh,
like, yeah, Sully is hot actually.
Sully is actually a cutie patootie. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, beautiful monster. Um, Speaking of Pixar, in the Pixar animated film Cars, why do they have mouths? Do they eat? What's going on there? What do you reckon?
I've never seen Cars,
Okay.
but I understand the question, and I genuinely never thought about it because I've always thought from a very young age when you look at the car, it looks like a face. So to me, cars have always had mouths. So when I think of a talking car, I'm like, of course it talks. What are you talking about? Of course it talks.
That's really good. That's very funny. Um, all right. See like what I had here. All right. Which movie has the most likable villain to you?
Oh, The Emperor's New Groove.
Ah,
I love Yzma.
good.
I love Yzma. Me and my brother used to recite scenes. I would be Kronk because he was older than me, but he would be Yzma and I'd be Kronk, and we would recite scenes from The Emperor's New Groove to my parents.
Amazing.
We love it. We still love Yzma. When did that? That was the first DVD we ever had. So that must be over 20 years ago now, even
Hmm.
25 years ago.
Hmm.
And my dad will still like reference Yzma.
That's so good.
Like I can still go visit my parents, and my dad will just be like, "Wrong with her," and my dad's
Oh, that's
as a
fantastic.
family. I'm answering on behalf of the Davies family.
That's very good. We have a very similar family experience as well. often whenever anyone gets stuck in anything, they will mutter, "These were my best shoes," and stuff
Yeah,
like
no,
that. And if anyone's
these
ever
were my best shoes. Oh shit, so many good lines. So many good lines. It also prompted us like listening on repeat to an Eartha Kitt CD on family
mm,
holidays. So
that's
a
lovely.
really good decision by her to do that movie, I think.
100%. Yeah. And in my family as well, whenever there's someone skeptical of someone, they
Mm.
will go, right. Like
Yeah,
that
you know.
every every single time. That's so good. I mean, it is important to expose your children to culture growing up, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
That way you get Eartha Kitt CDs. That's fantastic.
yeah.
Um, what animal would you want to ratatouille you into success? So if you're picking a Remy, you are Luigi.
Mm, mm.
The hat can be as big as it needs to be. Don't
Okay,
worry about it.
okay. Am I taking into account like neck strength?
I mean, you can. That's up to
I just feel
you.
like anything heavier than a rat, and you'd be sore after a shift in a restaurant, right? They work quite long hours.
Sure. But this is
Um,
for you doing stand up. So it's really only 10 minutes at a time, or sometimes an hour.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I went too
Mm,
literal and went to cooking.
mm,
Okay, for a stand-up set,
yeah.
whose perspective would I want
Mhm.
to? I would want to hear. No, I know this is basic, but I'd go for a cat.
Yeah.
I'd go for a cat because I think it would make sense coming out of my mouth. So I think if no one knew, it would still flow. I think they'd still be like, yeah, that's something Bridget would say.
That's
And one of my cats is like a big ginger fluffy cat, and I am convinced he has no. And so it would be a way to find that out. Uh, yeah, and I just think if like I'd be the same person I'm on stage, like quite wholesome, quite like playful, and then as
Mhm.
soon as there was a heckler, I'd just like the call could come out. Like, sorry, that was George. So yeah, I think a cat would have a good temperament.
That's really good. You're the first person to ever bring up, well, it has to be believable that it's me. And I think
What
that's
about
such
my brand? I'm always thinking about my brand.
yeah. Which I think is such a strong logical choice. That's really good. That's really quite good. And last question as always that I ask everybody as well is what do you think makes Austin Powers just so sexy? Mhm.
um, so for me, he's not. But then I was
Sure.
like, he got Beyonce.
Yeah. Diegetically within the film he is considered sexy.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, it's the fact that he's been with Beyonce, and I think that it's kind of like, oh wow, if she likes him, he must be okay. So there's a bit of that in the movie.
I like that as an
Yeah.
answer. That's really good.
In the movie. I mean, he's funny, isn't he? I
Ah,
don't know if he's always meaning to be, but we love fun.
we do.
Got to be. It's
Hmm.
that kind of when someone's like a bit weird, they encounter judgment, but when they go so weird and it fully embrace it and have no shame, it becomes it's like Crocs. Like Crocs used to be awful, and then people would wear Crocs and they'd be like, oh, judgment. And now people are wearing Crocs so confidently that they've become. I think Austin Powers is the Croc of men.
You heard it here, folks.
Mm,
Austin Powers is the Crocs of men.
mm,
That's
mm.
fantastic. Are you ready for our word from which we will
Okay.
build a movie? Here we go. Will, Will. Will.
Mm,
So I have a couple of notions of where I think we could go, but I
mhm.
defer to you because you are the guest and I'm a good host, you know. If you have something
Yeah.
to speaks to you, let me know first.
So I instantly went to the noun
Mm.
of will. So I went to people making will,
Oh,
which I
sure,
think
yeah.
is always a good premise for a movie.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, where did your mind go though? What
Will, the verb, like to will
okay.
something into existence.
Oh, okay.
But also Will Smith was the first thing. The
Oh,
image that came to my mind was Will Smith as Hancock, unfortunately.
okay.
Um,
Okay. I feel like we
but
can merge these things though. I feel like we can put
absolutely.
Will Smith in the movie, and I feel like through his will, he can will someone to do something. I think all of
Mm, yeah, yeah, okay. So he is,
so he's leaving a will with instruction. I think.
yes, yeah, I think for sure. And I think, hmm, it could be like a murder mystery
Mm-hmm.
where he has like three wills depending on how he died, which is a crazy thing to do.
Oh,
But like,
that's something I would do though. Like I love that.
yeah. So, like, if there's like a contingency for like, okay, if I died by a bus accident, it's this. If I get murdered, it's this. And so
Yeah.
his I guess kids or whatever have
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what actually happened to him in order to know which.
To know which will stands.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. 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 I'm trying to think, is there a will, there's a way? I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anything to that, something. Anyway,
That's
so
that's probably more the title. I feel like
mhm,
we've got a name for our movie now.
good.
It's good.
Hmm.
The marketing. Yeah. What about if the way that he dies also impacts his mood? So like each will is written in his mood as he died. So like if he dies in his sleep, like what a lovely way to
Hmm.
So I think that will's very serene and like everything's split equally and
Hmm.
everything's fair and lovely and the funeral instructions are like celebrate my life, don't loss, like it's beautiful. Um and then if he gets murdered, he's just like rage. And he's like,
Hmm.
all of you get nothing until you solve my murder. Um or like if he gets hit by a bus and his last thing just like sue the driver. Just like different emotional state based on how he died, which creates different will. Which I mean could and maybe lean itself to movie franchise, maybe
Mm.
series of movies.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I feel like, pardon me, alternatively to several films, you could have it kind of like vignettes within kind of like Pulp Fiction style, where you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, this will, this will, this will, and then you
Yeah,
kind of
no, okay.
decide as the audience which one it actually is.
Yeah,
Um, but I do like the fact that it like based off of his mood. I think that's really strong, where he's like,
yeah,
well, fuck these people. um,
yeah,
cool, 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 cool.
yeah. I've always liked the idea of not I'm like not really fussed about what my funeral will look like because I like won't be there. But I would like
Sure.
spend money on security with a doorlet and to be able to ban they don't like from my funeral. So I do like to think about what mindset people are in at the time of their death. So,
That's
yeah.
very funny to have a doorless to a funeral. It's closed casket for some people, but open
Yeah,
casket for
yeah,
others.
yeah,
That's the VIP.
yeah, yeah, yeah. VIPs get one last meet and greet,
Mhm.
with
What is it? A
what's
step
left
and
of
go? What is it? I don't even remember. It's very good. That's really funny as a concept. Cool. So I feel like the first one we should figure out would be what it would be like if he got murdered. I feel like that's the easiest one to kind of start with, where
it.
he's like, "You have to solve my murder."
Yeah.
Um, and I think what's interesting about this is like it has to be. I feel like the people that are trying to solve this case shouldn't be his direct family,
Okay.
right? Because they will have known what has happened because they like his wife is there, his kids are there,
Mm.
presumably. Whereas like his cousin that he was close with when he was a kid, and then they kind of, parted ways. But there is something for him in the will, but there's this extra step he has to go,
Yeah,
to
right.
figure it out.
Oh, is it what
Mm.
if so it's like a game. So like
Hmm.
you only get your part of the will once you know what happened. So everyone
Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
it'll be easier for some people than others.
exactly.
Yeah.
So his like direct family has already gotten whatever there is.
Yeah.
And part of what they're gonna get is by facilitating this game. If they don't do this, they won't get anything.
Hmm. Yeah.
Whereas so they have to play along as well, but by being like what I'm now realizing is essentially Taskmaster, which is fine. But but yeah, I think that's a fun place to start. So I feel like
Yeah. I like the idea of at least one scene where, like, because no one gets anything until like
mhm,
we've solved the mystery. So I like the idea of at least one scene being an argument, being like, oh, we probably could solve this murder if we, had been left something, but he's left us nothing. And
mhm,
I think like a little bit of friction between characters, because, a family row, a family feud amidst a murder mystery,
mhm.
esque,
Yeah,
right? Like it's everything like it.
100%. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, 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 it's really good. I think they should definitely all object to the concept
Hmm.
and kind of think that the what is it? The arbiter is like joking. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
we're not gonna like do this. He's like, well, no, I mean, it is quite literally his last dying wish.
Mm.
So you simply must. And I like the idea of Will Smith like being on like they would leave those like living wills that are like tapes.
Hmm.
And I feel like him coming back is that way, we can shoot him out in like 2 days. We don't have to pay
Yeah.
for him
Yeah.
the entire time, but he is the star of the movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I feel like them coming back to instructions for that, and I like the idea as well that they are trying to solve what happened. It's not necessarily a murder, but so I think there's got to be like I think there should be three um family members, one of which goes bus, accident, one of them which goes murder, one of us goes, well, he just died. He was fucking old, you
Yeah.
know.
He
So what
ate
are
a
you
lot
gonna
of
do?
fast food,
Yeah.
like it's not that exciting.
Yeah, he just passed away. People just die sometimes. I don't know what to tell you. We all gotta do it.
Yeah.
Um, and so I feel like then each member of the family goes and tries to like find supporting evidence of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just had
Hmm.
as you were talking, I had the image of Dragon's Den pop into my head with people trying to like pitch their idea of what happened to him.
I
And I
don't
was
know.
like, who are they pitching it? Like maybe the police, I don't know. Or the person in charge of the will or the estate. Um,
Is
yeah.
Dragon's Den like Shark Tank?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Dragon's Den is like the UK.
Okay. Cool. I
Then
was
yeah,
like,
Shark Tank might be Australia.
Shark Tank is American,
America.
uh,
Okay.
yeah, but Australian probably as well. But Dragon's Den is okay. Yeah, where they're going. They're just like the arbiter and the chief of police.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're like,
And
this is my idea and this is what I've done. How much money I spent on this journey towards playing us.
yes, yes, I like that a lot. I think that's really strong. I think that's very funny. So I think that like that would be a good framing device as well, where they're like they see in the prologue as you see Will Smith's tape explaining the whole bit, and then it like pans over from that to the judges, and then as the three family members are explaining what they've done, we like cut back to it, like we do it kind of in flashback that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um.
I reckon because you'd have to follow the like cousins or whatever. You'd have to follow
Mhm.
them more closely than any other character.
Yeah.
So they'd
Mhm.
have to have like quite well defined characters as well,
Mhm.
because you'd have to like buy into
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah. I
I feel like at least one of them should be like Cletus.
just like full hillbilly.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. I think
yeah,
that's really good. I think that's very good. I think having that person I feel like Sam Rockwell comes to mind to cast
yeah,
him,
yeah,
where he's like doing like a ridiculous accent, but you buy it for some reason.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think having Kiki Palmer would also be really good as one of the cousins. Like
Hmm.
again, like I feel like half of this is we're casting. You'd cast like very strong actors with distinct
Yes,
personalities to do like most of the heavy
yeah.
lifting. Um, trying to think of one other person. I think. I think Titus from I can't remember his last name from Kimmy Schmidt. Do you know who I'm talking about? Um, I prefer if you did, just because we're making
I,
this together. So, do you have I put up two names. Do you have a third that you think would be good?
let me Google this Titus. Or no, was that the third one? Are we? Oh,
Yeah, that would be the third one. So, like,
oh,
why
okay.
don't you pick? I'm kind
Okay,
of
so we've
hogging
got
the
who have we
ball.
got? We've got Sam Rockwell.
Hmm.
Big yes. Who was your second one?
Kiki Palmer. She's a very funny comedian and actor, and
Nice.
has pretty big personality, shall we say?
Okay. Okay. We've got kind of quirky. We've
Hmm.
got okay. So then I'm gonna stick with the hillbilly cousin idea, and I'm gonna go like Matthew McConaughey. Like,
Good, good. I like that. I like that a lot. I think then if we have two like really, there should be someone who's like really deadpan,
okay.
to contract. So I think Matthew McConaughey is good, Kiki Palmer is good, and then a really deadpan.
I'm a big Sam Rockwell fan. I'm sure he can play Deadpan.
Okay,
I'm sure
sure,
we
true,
can
true,
keep
true,
him.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Perfect,
Who just
perfect, perfect.
dances occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the idea, just for personal reasons, of having David Suchet, who plays Hercule Poirot in the BBC series,
Oh yeah.
as like the arbiter who's dealing with this will,
Yeah. Cool. Beautiful.
and he has a different kind of mustache, and everyone's
No.
like, nah, Tim. Um, and I feel like, no, I think he should be the chief of police, and I feel like Sam Jackson should be the arbiter. I think that'd be really fun because
Hmm.
having him in charge of like you dumb motherfuckers, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, would be fun. Cool. So we have who thinks what. I feel like um I feel like the hillbilly should be like, I don't know, people just die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell you. Everyone's
Yeah.
got to go at some time,
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
thing.
I think
Um,
Matthew McConaughey would sell that. So
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I feel like he's got like a Jimmy Buffett sort of like mustache Hawaiian
Yeah.
shirt, but
Yeah.
with a singlet underneath. And he's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We're lucky to be around at all, you
Yeah.
know?
That is
Um,
that. Yeah.
mhm,
Okay. So he's got people just die, and then the others are
mhm,
murder and okay, bus accident or fast
mhm.
food or bus accident.
Um,
Okay.
Bus accident and then murder. And I feel like fast food kind of comes with like, I don't know, people just go, it
Die.
could be
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I
I reckon Kiki Palmer, big personality, has to go murder.
I
Sure.
think so as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with Sam Rockwell playing really like monotone, he's like, well, statistically, it seems likely that
Yeah.
it would
Yeah.
be a car accident.
Yeah.
That's like the number one death in America.
Yeah. And
So,
he's trying to like litigate
mhm.
that accident and maybe get some money out of it for the family, sue some. I feel like it
Oh,
goes
yeah,
heavy
true.
into something with legality, right?
Yeah. I feel like he should be like a lawyer for sure.
Mm. Mm.
Obviously, Matthew McConaughey, he is just around.
Yeah.
And then I feel like Kiki Palmer could be someone who she should, she should be a true crime podcast host who's like,
Yeah.
this is my moment.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Oh, very good. So they each have their own little adventure. Um, I feel like, rule of three comedy, blah blah blah. It should end with Matthew McConaughey, who's like, "Well, what I did was I didn't do anything because I think he just died. I just relaxed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had 3 days to figure it out. I figured out in a numero uno. So I've been hanging out."
I really like the idea of the tape that, like the will that Will Smith
Hmm.
left, having the answer at the end, that
Hmm.
the lawyer, or the person like arbitrating the will, watches, and Matthew McConaughey's just like, I just stayed longer and I just watched them watch the will. So
So he's
like,
That's funny. So it's like on your mark, get set, go, and the other two
Yeah,
leave the room, and he's like,
yeah,
"Now wait a minute, what's all
yeah,
the rest of this thing?"
yeah. Like, what a message, you know? It's like the hare and the tortoise. It's like patient. There's so many lessons to be learned from this. So, like, kids can be shown it in year 11 English and have to write assignments about it. Like, it's a what a beautiful movie with so many layers.
That's so good. I like that a lot. I really do. Um, that's great. So we have that. And then, as normally what happens when I do this podcast, we have the beginning, we have the end. What the
Mhm.
hell happens in the middle of this thing
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Kiki and with Sam?
yeah. Yeah, so I reckon the middle is just following those two, and then I think Matthew McConaughey just pops up at various points to drop like really good lines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. To be sure.
yeah. So I reckon we follow her investigation where she's surprisingly sharp and
Mm.
noticing a lot of minute details that ultimately mean nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, we kind of go back and forth between that and her like arguing the case with
Mm.
the
Yeah, so it's intercut with that.
yeah. We go back and forth on
So I feel like she has to find an enemy of Will Smith to like pin it on, or like
mm,
someone who would gain the most from it.
yeah.
And I feel like the person she blames is the arbiter of the will, because if he can get away with it, then the trust just stays with him.
True. True. I also wondered about blaming the wife because she's like a true crime podcaster. She's like
Mm.
obviously the spouse, and
Uh-huh.
she just like can't be shifted from like this
No.
trope.
I like that a lot. And
Like,
I like the idea of her like going, the wife did it, and then like there's all this other evidence pointing
yeah, yeah,
towards someone else, and she's like, no.
yeah, yeah. She's like, have
Just
you not
rip.
listened to any podcasts either?
I like it a lot. Who do you think the wife should be played by? 'Cause now that you've introduced her.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. If she's gonna be a suspect, she's probably got a bigger part. Uh, Oh, do you know who I love? Is oh my gosh, what's her name? I think is it Regina King? And she was
Mm-hmm.
like the fairy godmother in Florida Cinderella story, and she was the like the mum daddy day, and she's
Yes.
very funny. I would love her to do it.
That is great. Let me double check.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure that I'm thinking of the same person.
yeah,
And
yes,
yes, I
yeah.
am. And more importantly to me, she is the voice of the two children Boondocks, which is a
Okay, cool.
TV series I love and was
Yeah, are
actually, if I'm being honest, thinking of her as well.
you
So
serious?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I reckon
That's
she'd also have like that strong presence, so she'd be able to argue, and she'd be like, "You fucking dumb bitch! There is no evidence I've done this." So they can just like butt heads the whole movie.
yeah, that's so good. And they're both so funny. It would be
Yes.
so good to see those two
Yeah.
go tete a tete.
Yeah.
And also like, because she'd be like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm
Yeah.
the will getting solved. My money is contingent on playing. Like, it makes no sense for me to have killed because I knew this will was in place anyway. So
Yeah.
that's great. And I think that's very strong. And she can't be moved from that. And then it obviously doesn't work out. And then Sam Rockwell, I feel like just rather than doing any sort of investigation, he like puts on like the now I may be just a small southern lawyer, but
Yeah.
and just does like a whole like talk PowerPoint in the
Yeah.
room where they're like,
Yeah.
well, statistically it's likely to do that. And then everyone's like, okay, well it's not though. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Cool, 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 cool. I feel like then at the end of that, obviously Matthew McConaughey is just like, I stayed and watched the whole tape. And then from there, in the final act, it becomes Kiki Palmer and Sam Rockwell teaming up to try and get Matthew McConaughey and the money from him. And like they start the third act twist is them trying to basically hunt down and murder Matthew McConaughey in the woods.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. as long as he's got to say that he already saw the tape. Once
Mm-hmm.
they say, see, that's the motive.
Mm-hmm.
Whether like he's gonna win this, his idea is gonna be right. He's seen the answer, so they should, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, they chase him down and just stop him trying to get the money. And I feel like
I like the
he,
idea of them working really hard as well to track him down.
mm.
So almost like Isma and Kronk working really, really, really hard to follow him, and he's just kind of like slow walking, like bumbling his way through, not trying super hard to evade them as well. I think that's kind of dynamic.
Absolutely. It's very, again, tortoise in the hair. It's very
Yeah,
like zip, 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 zip. And he's still like,
yeah,
huh? And it's got to be like a lot of like people, like someone throwing an axe and him like going, oh, what's that? And it going over his head
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah,
big gags like that.
yeah,
Um, and I like the idea of like he's inherited the money because he was right, and they're trying to murder him to then get the money. And they're like, they confront him, and he's like, oh, well, you wouldn't get anything because I don't have a will. And you're
yeah,
like, think it's so important to have one actually.
yeah. And
Because
then there's a lesson on the importance of having a will when you're
hmm
an adult. Yeah,
exactly, something, frankly speaking, I need to get on.
yeah. I also do not have one, but
Yeah,
the lesson stand.
the lesson does stand, and also like I don't got anything. The bank can have it. I don't
Yeah, yeah,
fucking care.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that's very good. Of I think that's a good way to end it. But of having them, he's like, I don't have a will. What did you do with the money? I think you should have like buried it in a hole.
hmm,
And they're like, well, where is it? I was like, mm.
yeah,
He just like doesn't remember.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that. So like the first maybe like half or two-thirds of the movie is like their story trying to find it out, and then like at the two-third mark they drop that he's already seen it and see the answer. The remainder is them chasing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
very nice. Yeah, I think we have it. Do you have any notions of who you want to direct this picture?
Oh no.
Okay,
Honestly, could not tell you very many directors.
that is fair enough. I'm going to bring something up here. One moment. Do. I'm going to pitch that it is Mark Dindal who directed Emperor's New Groove and Chicken
Yes.
Little.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I think that's great. And then I think it should have like a really like a bunch of needle drops for the soundtrack, like a bunch of
Yeah.
like pop music and stuff.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
opening credits have money. That's what I want, that sort of stuff, you
Yeah.
know. Um nice, 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 nice. Are you ready for a lightning round?
Sure.
Okay. So we both get the same word and we do a small pitch, just a couple sentences based off of that word. The first one is line, line, line. For me, it's about someone who is in the line at the DMV
Hmm.
and to renew their license, and they constantly cannot get the right form, and it's this whole thing. And then in the second half of the movie, it's revealed they're actually in hell. And then the rest of the film is them trying to escape hell.
Wow. Nice.
Hey,
I love
thanks.
that. I went so far the other way, and
Hmm.
I thought it was line dancing, and I
Ah.
thought of a class of just like older women doing line dancing, and it would be a super wholesome movie. Actually, the one director I do know who worked pretty well is Nancy Myers. It would be
Hmm.
like that level of wholesomeness with like quite low stake. And it would basically just be like a bunch of older women with their line dance classes and the like drama, like the relationship drama. Like, gosh, there's one man in the class and they all want him. Maybe he died of a heart attack, we don't know. But or like, oh, my kid is dating your kid, and like I want them to live in my state and not be.
That's so
It's
funny.
like really petty interpersonal stuff. Yeah,
That's really good. I think small town stuff like that always is perfect for
yeah,
movies. I don't know, it's so good. Absolutely. That's fantastic. Um so we got next up we have Infect. Um for me, Infect is about it's a body horror film about
Mhm.
a wound that simply will not heal. And it turns out it's a metaphor for intergenerational trauma at the end. That's the whole premise of the movie. Those
Ah.
are the details. Moving on.
I went to like a pandemic type situation.
Mm,
I was like, it's too soon. It's too to some kind of survivalist, incurable disease.
mm,
Um, and following the two people who've managed not to get infected. I think I'm just ripping off the last.
could
Um,
well be, but it could be scarlet fever or something silly.
yeah, yeah,
You know, something silly
something silly like
like
Scarlet.
scarlet fever.
Yeah, yeah.
Last one we have is done that one. Archive. Archive. For me, Archive is an Indiana Jones style action adventure where an archaeologist goes and finds the burnt remains of the Library of Alexandria. And turns out it wasn't burned, it was buried. And there's like a mistranslation or something. And
Ooh,
they go and they find all this knowledge that's like, oh fuck, this is so much shit we should know, but we don't. And of
yeah.
course, by the end of it, ends up getting buried again.
I would watch all of these movies that we talked about today.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea of a class trip to like a museum kind of archive and they uncover something that no archaeologist, historian, anyone ever uncovered before. And
Mhm.
it's their struggle to be believed, to share this evidence with the adults of their town and be like, this is true, this is something we found, this is what it means. It changes like all the dynamics of society that we've built based on the history that we thought had happened. And then the adults fighting back and very famous five really. Um, but I think ultimately, obviously, the kids would win and everyone would believe them.
Mhm.
But then, of course, the choice is: does society change based on what they found? The adults rebury it. Kids, they go to sleep 2 hours later. As a and the adults like they're in bed, go, and then they rebury their stuff.
It is one of those things with the kid like kids adventure films that like there is that dynamic still. It's like,
Yeah,
well, I just killed like a pirate or whatever, and now you're telling me to go to bed. This
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That's very good. I like that a lot. A plus. Well, we're rounding the corner here. Is there anything that you would like people to know? Any projects coming up and where people can find you that listen to the podcast, they can find you?
Um, I'm trying to get better at TikTok, and it's not really happening. So, please follow me on Instagram. It's the only
Sure.
thing I regularly get. The Bridget Davies comedy.
Mhm.
I just did my hour show in the New Zealand International Comedy Festival, and I had a good time. So I put some more. So I would
Mhm.
like to take them places, and the only place I'll remember to post about it will be Instagram. It's the place to be. Yeah.
Good, good, good. I now speak to you, the listener. Please support this podcast by going to tristanmiller.substack.com. You get early access to the episodes, the video, and then film reviews, as well as a bonus podcast called Movies to Fall Asleep To, where I talk to people about their comfort movies, aka Emperor's New Groove or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Um, but I also want to say thank you very much for doing the podcast. It was heaps of fun, and I will see you literally in a couple of hours at the event we're both going to.
Yes, this was so fun. I'm so
Good.
glad we did it. And yeah, I will see you in like 137
Wow, that is something I cannot calculate, but good on you.
minutes.
Um, but I'll let you go. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you.